Hey class, how are we doing today?
Good.
Okay, so we are going to do our second day of Read Aloud, and we're going to read chapter 2 from our book, Charlotte's Web. But first, we have a little bit of a fun art project to do.
Okay.
So we are going to do a directed draw where you are able to draw. What do we think we're going to draw from the book?
A pig.
Okay, good. So let me get this pulled up. And we are going to work on drawing our pig. And then we're going to use our drawing. So put your paper hamburger style. We're going to use our drawing for our language arts assignment today. So let's take a couple minutes to draw our pig. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Remember, everybody is their own artist and has their own designs. Miss Shoulder is going to follow along with you and draw her own. You can draw it as big or as small as you'd like. Very good so far.
Look at mine. Funny.
That's awesome. Give me 5, dude. That's so cool. You did it. Okay, now. Here's the funny. I like it. Okay, now let's draw his legs. Okay. We're gonna draw little U's. So we're gonna draw a little U right here. 1.
Ooh, that looks like it might be his little, what do we think those could be? Evie.
The feet.
The
Can
feet.
I pause?
Sure, we can pause it. Oh, he gets 4 little feet. Great work.
Yeah.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Good job. Okay, what's he missing?
Ears and his tail.
Yeah. All right, let's do his ears first. We're going to do a little triangle or an upside down V, okay?
Okay.
So do a little V right there for his one ear.
Okay.
Yes, right there. Up and then down. And then we'll do another ear over here. Up and then down.
Inside.
Inside his body, yes. Yep. And then, oh, I like it. Your ear's kind of pointing down. That's awesome. I like it. And then let's do his tail next.
Ooh, how do we think his tail's going to look?
Me.
Cameron, how do you think his tail's going to look?
Spiral.
Spiral. Good word. All right, let's see. Good
Okay,
ears.
so we're gonna do a little curl
Great.
That was perfect.
Oh, yeah. I can do it.
You can't do it. Yes, you can. All right, we need a color, don't we?
All right, so we're done with our drawing, so you can go ahead and color however you would like. There's colored pencils at your table, so make sure we're sharing. And what should we do if our friend has the color that we need? What should we do, Evie?
We should either color something else or wait patiently.
Wait patiently or color something else or use a different color, right? And if we just wait patiently, maybe our friend will be done and share the colors with us. So I will give you about 3 minutes to color, and then we will get into our reading. Do you need another color? Do you need pink for your pig?
Yeah, I like that pink.
Okay, well here, let's see what else. There might be, ooh, another pink in here. You could wait too. What if you do, what about his eyes doing in black?
Oh, yeah.
Color his eyes and the dots on his nose. And then maybe by that time, she'll be all done with the pink. Miss Shoulder drew a blue pig because I did not have a pink marker. And that's okay, right? Because if that's how somebody wants to draw their pig blue, then it works. Yes?
Oh, we have a pink mark over here if you want to color it.
Oh, there is a pink marker. Maybe I will color that in. Thank you for sharing. Right, let's see what we could do.
I found this color.
Yellow?
No, it's like a tannish.
Oh, okay.
Some pigs are tan.
I'm gonna color the inside of my pig pink. And his outline will be blue so he stands out.
Oh, that's cool.
So because we're drawing a pig today, what do you think we could be reading about in our book, Charlotte's Web?
Pigs.
Pigs? Yeah. Evie, did you have something else or were you gonna say pigs too?
We are gonna do spiders, maybe. Maybe about from the first chapter there was like a little girl.
Ooh, so we talked about who remembers what the little girl's name is. Do you remember, Evie?
Fern.
Fern, that was our little girl. And what did we learn about Fern? Yes, go ahead, Evie.
She didn't want her dad to kill the baby runt, so then her dad gave it to her and she milked it with the bottle and the needle or thing.
The nipple, yep.
Nipple.
What else, Cameron?
Let's see.
Do you remember what else we learned about in the first chapter?
No.
Okay.
But I was gonna ask you what's a runt.
A runt. A runt is so when a mama pig has a bunch, or anything, it could be a dog, when an animal has a bunch of little babies, sometimes there is one baby that's really small compared to all the other ones, so they call them the runt of the litter.
Huh.
Miss Shoulder had a dog that I got. His name was Dozer, and he was the runt of the litter because he happened to be the smallest dog that they had. So he was the last puppy that they sold, and Miss Shoulder got him.
Actually,
Oh, I love your pig. Good job, keep going.
How old is your
What if here, I can sharpen that for you.
How old is your doggy now?
Well, Miss Shoulder's doggy passed away last year.
Aww.
It's okay. He was a good dog and he lived for a long time. There you go.
You named him Dozer?
Dozer, yeah. Oh, I love the pigs. So creative. All right, so we talked about chapter 1 a little bit. That was the start of our book. And what are some things that we are looking for in the book to help us learn about the book or the characters? Do you guys remember what we talked about last time, Evie?
Evidence?
Evidence. What could be evidence from the book to tell us about the characters?
Maybe their names or what they do, or the pictures.
Or the pictures. Remember our book, even though it's a chapter book, it does have some pictures in the book. So we can look at the pictures and the illustrations to help teach us about the characters or maybe the setting of the book. What else? What are some other clues about maybe the words in the book? So maybe some descriptive words that we find in the book might teach us. Remember, we learned a little bit about Fern and her brother. We learned that her brother was 10 years old, so those are descriptive words so we can kind of get a better visualization about our characters.
I'm done. Oh,
Perfect.
Oh, I forgot the legs.
Oh, color his legs, and then we will start to read our chapter. When you are all done coloring and ready to move on for reading, go ahead and put your pencils up so I know that you're ready, or your colored pencils down actually so I know that we're ready. Perfect. Okay, so we all drew our picture of our pig, and what do we think we should name our pig based off our story?
I know.
Do we remember what the pig's name was, Cameron?
Wilbur.
Wilbur.
I have another one that I named mine Little Peppa.
You're naming yours Little Peppa. Okay, so Miss Shoulder's going to read chapter 2, and we're going to talk about things from the story. Well, I'll stop. If you have any questions, you raise your hand and let me know. So in the end of chapter 1, Fern was at school, and she was daydreaming all day long about her pig Wilbur. So what do we think is going to happen in chapter 2? Let me tell you the title, and you tell me what you think it might be about. Chapter 2's title is Wilbur. What do we predict it could be about, Evie?
It could be about the little pig because she named it Wilbur.
Could be about the pig, so maybe we're going to learn about the pig, right? Okay, yes, Cameron.
Maybe it could be about the girl.
Maybe about Fern too, so we could learn more about Fern and Wilbur. So let everybody listen, and if you have questions, you raise your hand if you have a question about the book. Chapter 2, Wilbur. Fern loved Wilbur more than anything. She loved to stroke him, to feed him, to put him to bed. Every morning, as soon as she got up, she warmed his milk, tied on his bib, and held the bottle for him. Every afternoon when the school bus stopped in front of her house, she jumped out and ran to the kitchen to fix another bottle for him. She fed him again at supper time and again just before going to bed. What do we know about the pig? He likes to what?
Milk?
He likes milk. He likes to drink milk, huh? Mrs. Arabelle gave him a feeding around noontime each day when Fern was away in school. Wilbur loved his milk, and he was never happier than when Fern was warming up a bottle for him. He would stand and gaze at her with adoring eyes. For the first few days of his life, Wilbur was allowed to live in the box near the stove in the kitchen. Why do we think they would put him by the stove, Evie?
Maybe because that's where they warmed up the milk?
And maybe if the stove is usually hot, it was maybe keep him warm at night because he was a little baby piggy. Then when Miss Arabelle complained, he was moved to the bigger box in the woodshed. At 2 weeks of age, he was moved outdoors. It was apple blossom time and the days were getting warmer. Mr. Arabelle fixed a small yard specifically for Wilbur under an apple tree and gave him a large wooden box full of straw, with a door cut in it so he could walk in and out as he pleased. "Won't he be cold at night?" asked Fern. "No," said her father. "You watch and see what he does." What do you think he's going to do? They gave him a large wooden box filled with straw and a door so he could go in and out. Why does the father say he won't be cold at night, Cameron?
He has straw, so maybe he'll bury us?
He has straw, so maybe that will keep him warm. Do you think something else, Cameron?
No, same thing.
Okay, so let's continue reading. Carrying a bottle of milk, Fern sat down under the apple tree inside the yard. Wilbur ran to her, and she held the bottle for him while he supped. When he had finished the last drop, he grunted and walked sleepily into the box. Fern peered through the door. Wilbur was poking the straw with his snout. In a short time, he had dug a tunnel in the straw. He crawled into the tunnel and disappeared from sight, completely covered in straw. Fern was enchanted. It relieved her mind to know that her baby would sleep covered up and would stay warm. So what did he do with the straw? Go ahead, Cam.
Stay warm.
What did he do with the straw? He used his nose and he
Buried him.
Himself to stay warm with the straw, covered himself up like a blanket maybe, huh? Every morning after breakfast, Wilbur walked out to the road with Fern and waited till her bus came. She would wave goodbye to him, and he would stand and watch the bus until it vanished around a turn. While Fern was at school, Wilbur was shut up inside his yard. But as soon as she got home in the afternoon, she would take him out and he would follow her around the place. If she went upstairs to the house, Wilbur went too. If she went upstairs, Wilbur would wait at the bottom step until she came down again. What does that make us think about Wilbur? What do you think, Evie?
Fern might be his favorite person.
Fern might be his favorite person because he follows her around all the time, right? If she took her doll for a walk in the doll carriage, Wilbur followed along. Sometimes on these journeys, Wilbur would get tired, and Fern would pick him up and put him in the carriage alongside the doll. Let's look at the picture that we have in the book. He is tucked into that baby carriage just like a little baby. He liked this, and if he was very tired, he would close his eyes and go to sleep under the doll's blanket. He looked cute when his eyes were closed because his lashes were so long. The doll would close her eyes too, and Fern would wheel the carriage very slowly and smoothly so as to not wake her infant. So she pretended like he was her little baby. One warm afternoon, Fern and Avery put on bathing suits and went down to the brook for a swim. Wilbur tagged along at Fern's heels. When she waded into the brook, Wilbur waded in with her. He found the water quite cold, too cold for his liking. So while the children swam and played and splashed water at each other, Wilbur amused himself in the mud along the edge of the brook, where it was warm and moist and delightfully sticky and oozy. Every day was a happy day and every night was peaceful. Wilbur was what farmers called a spring pig, which simply means that he was born in the springtime. When he was 5 weeks old, Mr. Arabelle said he was now big enough to sell and would have to be sold. Fern broke down and wept, but her father was firm about it. Wilbur's appetite had increased, and he was beginning to eat scraps of food in addition to milk. Mr. Arabelle was not willing to provide for him any longer. He had already sold Wilbur's 10 brothers and sisters. "He's got to go, Fern," he said. "You have had your fun raising a baby pig. But Wilbur is not a baby any longer, and he has to get sold." "Call up the Zuckermans," suggested Mrs. Arabelle to Fern. "Your Uncle Homer sometimes raises a pig. And if Wilbur goes there to live, you can walk down the road and visit him as often as you'd like." "How much money should I ask for him?" Fern wanted to know. "Well," said her father, "he's a runt. Tell your Uncle Homer you've got a pig you'll sell for $6 and see what he says." $6? Do we think that's a lot of money?
No.
Not at all, huh? It was soon arranged. Fern phoned and got her Aunt Edith, and her Aunt Edith hollered for Uncle Homer, and Uncle Homer came in from the barn and talked to Fern. When he had heard the price was only $6, he said he would buy the pig. Next day, Wilbur was taken from his home and under the apple tree and went to live in a manure pile in a cellar at the Zuckerman's barn. So, do we think that that's going to make Fern and Wilbur happy that he has to leave? What do you think, Evie?
Well, I think it's going to make Wilbur just as happy as he is now because he'll still be able to see Fern and he'll get a different home with other animals.
Good, so we think he'll still be happy because he can see Fern. What else do you think, Cameron? Do you think they might be a little sad that they won't live together anymore?
Yeah, I think they would be sad because the girl couldn't wake up and go run out to the pig.
Right. So I want you to discuss with the partner before we start our next part. What we're going to do is we are going to create a bubble map. So remember our picture that we drew of our piggy? We are going to draw a bubble map. Cameron, do you know what a bubble map is?
I think so.
Okay, so a bubble map is we draw a picture, or you can draw pictures, you can just write words, but in our case, we drew a picture, and we are going to write some fun words around our pig. So with your partner, just for a couple minutes, I want you to talk about different things that we learned about Wilbur. Remember, we used our pictures from the book, and we want to use some words from the book that we found to talk about Wilbur. So use your book. I'm going to give you this book to use in case you need to find some words about Wilbur, okay? Okay, so discuss it with your partner, and then we'll discuss it as a group.
Remember, I think right there it said he's a spring pig.
Okay, talk about it with your partners.
So a spring pig? So let's put a spring pig. I need help spelling. Okay.
Once you have one description that you learned about Wilbur, go ahead and put your pencils up so I know we're ready to discuss as a class.
Is that right how you write the G?
All right, so Evie and Cameron, it looks like you have one. What is the first thing that you found in the book to describe Wilbur? Remember, we're looking for things that we learned about Wilbur.
Spring pig.
Oh, they call him a spring pig, right? They say Wilbur was what a farmers call a spring pig. So we're gonna just draw a line and we're gonna write spring pig. If you didn't get that one, that's okay. You can go ahead and write it down. Does anybody else, what are some other descriptive things we read in the book talking about Wilbur? What was he called? Remember, you asked me what it meant. What did they call him of the litter? It starts with the letter R. And remember, Miss Shoulder told you that about her dog. That was that. Do you remember what the word was? Evie, do you remember what the word was?
Runt.
A runt. So let's put over here that he was the runt. You don't have to put it in the exact spot that Miss Shoulder does. You can put it wherever you'd like. Good. And then what else? Cameron, do you remember any descriptive things they talked about for us to help learn about Wilbur? What was one of his favorite things to do? Cameron, go ahead.
Follow the girl.
And so what does that tell us that he liked about the girl? That maybe that he loved her. He loved, and what was her name? Do we remember?
No.
Fern.
Fern?
He loved Fern. What else did we know that he loved? What do pigs like to do? Let's see, let me make sure that all our friends are caught up. Good, don't forget to write. He's a spring, what is he, a spring pig, right? So write pig under there. That is a great drawing. What else did we learn that he likes to do?
He likes to roll in the mud.
He likes mud. Okay, what does he like? What do most pigs like to do?
They like to drink a lot of milk when they're a baby.
And then once they don't just drink milk, they do what?
They eat scraps.
They like to eat, right? So we're gonna put that he liked to eat. Good, he liked to eat. Let's see, let Miss Shoulder see what else that he might have liked to do. Was he still a small little runt pig, or what was happening to Wilbur? Evie?
He was getting bigger.
He was getting bigger, so we can put he was getting big.
I'm running out of room.
That's okay. He was getting big. Because he was eating more food, then he was getting big. Oh, I love it. It's right here. Use the board so you can, and you don't have to spell it correctly, just as long as you kind of just get it down on your paper. Oh, good job. What do we know about Wilbur's appearance? Did it talk about what color he was? Do we remember that at all? Cameron, what color was he?
Tan?
Or
White.
he was white. And that was good memory, Evie, because they talked about what color he was in chapter 1. So let's put over here, wherever you want, that he was white. Good, remembering. So it's really important that we use words from our book and that we use pictures from the book to tell us and teach us more about the character to help us understand them, right? So how does the author, so we talked about what we learned about Wilbur and how the author describes Wilbur. Why do you think she does that? Why do you think the author uses all these types of words? Runt, white, spring pig, that he loved fern. Why does she use all this evidence to tell us about him? Why does she do that?
So you can picture what the story is kind of looking like in your brain.
So you can visualize what you're reading, right? As we're reading our story, we always want to visualize what we are learning, right? Well, good job, my friends. You did a great job with your pictures, your drawings, and making our bubble map today. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
Okay, good job.
Square it.
Make sure your name's on your paper.